Welcome back. Today we'll be looking into gradient intercept form. It's a form to write an equation of a straight line. So this is the gradient intercept form. Y equals mx plus b. Right, this will be an important formula for you to use. Okay. Now, whenever we talk about formulas, we need to know what each value means. The y and the x are basically your y and x values from your coordinates. Your m represents your gradient, and your b term represents your y-intercept. Your y-intercept is when x equals to 0. Now, if I had to look at it as a coordinate, an example of this would be 0 being 0. X will always be 0. And your y would be any term, such as 5. Another one could be 0 and -2. Okay. Your coordinates always consist of an x value, a comma, and a y value in brackets. All right. One thing I would like to preface and note of is that when two straight lines has the same gradient, they are parallel. Okay. Example 1, find the equation of the line with gradient -2/3 and y-intercept 1 and sketch the graph. So anytime that I come across a question, let us break it down. I need to find the equation of the line with a gradient of -2/3 and a y-intercept of 1. Then I need to sketch. Okay, so let's deal with one thing at a time. Before I even figure out my equation, I need to break down what I already have in the question, which is my gradient should equal to -2/3, and my y-intercept should be 1, +1. Okay, once I've done that, let us use our gradient intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b. So let's write down the formula down, just like so, and substitute your m and your b into the formula. So your equation should be -2/3 x plus 1. Once you've done that, that is your equation. So you've done one part of the question. Your next part is to sketch the graph. So to sketch the graph, you need 1 point. And you actually have been given 1 point, which is your y-intercept. So another way for you to write your y-intercept in a coordinate is basically looking at this one right here. Your y-intercept is when x equals to 0. So that means your x value in your coordinate needs to equal to 0, comma, what is your y value? 1. That on a graph is basically this point right here. Your y-intercept, if you've noticed a pattern, right, it'll always be in your y-axis. Okay, so that's my first point. I need one more point so that I can then draw a line. Now, your other hint is from your gradient. How do I figure out the gradient, right? One way to figure out the gradient is rise over run. Now, what I'm going to do is, looking at that fraction, -2/3, I can see that my rise is my -2, right? So what I'm going to do is, first up, I'm going to start off at my y-intercept, which is that blue dot there. And because it's -2, and negative is basically, that means I'm going down, right? So down the x-axis, I'm going to go 1, 2. I'm going to stop there, but I'm not done yet. I need to have a run of +3. And the run is basically going from left to right. And because it's positive, I'm going to the right. 1, 2, 3. This is my second point here, which is 3, -1. Once you've done that, all you do is draw a line passing those 2 points using a ruler. Okay, just like so. Put these arrows so that it identifies that it keeps on going on. And your last thing that you need to do is just put in your equation next to your line, just like this, to identify what equation that line, I guess, refers to. Now, one thing I would like to preface, whenever you sketch the graph or graph something, you need to make sure that you are labeling where your X and Y axis is. Make sure that your increments on those axes is equal. You need to make sure that you plot your points correctly. Make sure that you draw a line, a straight line using a ruler, have these arrows, and then lucky last is make sure you have your equation next to your line, just like this. Okay, those are important key things for you to know. Let's go to example 2. Find the equation of this straight line. So this is going the other way around, where we are given the graph and working backwards. So I got given this graph. They gave me 2 points, which is these two right here, 7, 4, and this point here, 1. That point there on the y-axis is actually a y-intercept. And a y-intercept is something that I need in my equation from y equals mx plus b, right, from my gradient intercept form. So I'm going to write down b equals +1. Okay, now to find my gradient, I'm going to do the following. I'm going to just dot a line or a triangle, just like so. This is a right angled triangle. And what I'm going to do next is I'm going to start off from my y-intercept, and I'm going to go across. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So these are 7 units. And if I go up, it'll be 1, 2, 3 units. Now with my gradient, I normally use rise over run. My rise here would be 3. My run would be 7. Just to double check, read the graph from left to right. Is it going up or is it going down? If it's going up, that means it's a positive gradient. So my gradient needs to be a positive. If the graph going from left to right is going down, my graph would be a negative, just to preface that note. Okay, so I got my gradient and my y-intercept. So I'm going to just sub it in. So it'll be y equals 3 over 7x plus 1. Okay, if let's say you get given a y-intercept of b equals -1, just sub it in as normal, right? And it will turn out to be -1. Okay, that's just a preface. Just sub it in straight away. Even if it says plus b, just go minus b, -1. All right, let us go to our last example, which is rewrite the equation 4x minus 3y minus 12 equals 0 in the form y equals mx plus b. Hence, find the gradient and y-intercept. Okay, so I'm going to break it down. I need to rewrite the equation, this equation right here, right, in the form of y equals mx plus b. All right, let's do that first. I'm going to use my equation skills. I'm going to rewrite it. 4x minus 3y minus 12 equals 0. In my form here, it seems like my y is positive, right? And it's by itself with no number in front. So basically that means I want my y to be my subject and it needs to be positive. So what I'm going to do now is the y here has a 3 and it's a -3. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move that -3y to the other side. So I'm going to add 3y. This will cancel out. For my next line, I'm going to get 4x minus 12 on this side, on the left-hand side, equal to 3y. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide it by 3 because I want y by itself. This will cancel out. I'm not done yet. Okay. I'm going to rewrite this question on the left-hand side like so. Okay. It'll be 4x over 3 minus 12 over 3. I can simplify this 12 over 3 to be 4x over 3 minus 4. So my equation is y equals 4x over 3 minus 4. Part of my question was to find the gradient and find the y-intercept. So I'm going to write down gradient. Therefore, gradient equals to 4 over 3. And my y-intercept is negative 4. It's not just the 4, right? You need to take it with the math operation, whether that is positive or negative. Okay, that is it. Hopefully that helps. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.